व्रज जनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दना व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुना तीरावनचारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजाकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजाकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। मायापुर श्री नवद्वीप धाम की जय। मथुरा धाम की जय। द्वारका धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत गौरभक्त वृंद की जय। गौरभक्त प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतः सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी। हरि ओम तत्सत्। Hare Krishna devotees, welcome for ISKCON Seshadripuram's morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. So today I have been asked to take up Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, the creation of the 4th order, 14th chapter, which is the story of King Vena, and in that verse number 9. So I will chant the verse. Then we can. Arajaka bhayat yesha krito raja tad arhanaha tato api asit bhayam tvi adya katam syat swasti dehinam. Word by word meaning. Arajaka, being without a king. Bhayat, out of fear. Yeshaha, this Vena. Kritaha was made. Raja, the king. Atat arhanaha, though not qualified for it. Tataha, just from him. Api, also. Asit, there was. Bhayam, danger. Tu, then. Adya, now. Katam, how. Syat, can there be. Swasti, happiness. Dehinam, of the people in general. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thinking to save the state from irregularity, the sages began to consider that it was due to a political crisis that they made Vena king, although he was not qualified. But alas, now the people were being disturbed by the king himself. Under such circumstances, how could the people be happy? Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 18.5, it is stated that even in the renounced order, one should not give up sacrifice, charity and penance. The brahmacharis must perform sacrifices, the grahasthas must give in charity, and those in the renounced order of life, the vanaprasthas and sannyasis, must practice penance and austerities. These are the procedures by which everyone can be elevated to the spiritual platform. When the sages and saintly persons saw that King Vena had stopped all these functions, they became concerned about the people's progress. Saintly people preach God consciousness or Krishna consciousness because they are anxious to save the general populace from the dangers of animalistic life. There must be a good government to see that the citizens are actually executing their religious rituals, and thieves and rogues must be curbed. When this is done, the people can advance peacefully in spiritual consciousness and make their lives successful. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagara Jatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brinda Vaneshwari Rishabhana Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabho Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this verse is in this chapter which is called the story of King Vena. So the little bit of a background. So Vena's father, King Anga. So that chapter was last chapter where there's a lot of description about Vena and Anga and how what was his progress in terms of where we came to this particular section. So Anga was a wonderful, great devotee, a great personality. But unfortunately for him, this son who was Vena was born. And Vena was, some children, I don't know, I mean, it's a lot of things are there which is very, very complex. So, for such a great personality, why such a rascal son? Right? So, the boy was so bad that just imagine he is just a boy. So, what he used to do is, if he is playing with his friends, for some reason, there is some, whatever, that the boy gets upset with maybe they defeat him in the game or they make him uncomfortable. Generally children when they play and there is some kind of a fight, they may at the most shout or they get away from that place. This boy literally killed the friend. Just imagine when he was just a small whatever kid, maybe 8 to 12 years, whatever. If he has that audacity to simply kill someone who does not fall in line with his kind of whatever he wants to do, that is the kind of a cruel personality that Vena was. Seeing this, his father was so very upset. He gave him all sorts of punishment. See, there are different contradictions, I mean, opposite kind of things. There, I'm just, as I'm speaking, I'm thinking of Prahlad Maharaj, where the father was such a demoniac person, but the son was such a great devotee, where the father would do such things. Here, what Vena is doing, the father would do, but the son at that very young, tender age, he will preach Krishna consciousness to all his friends and make them elevated. Here, this boy, around same age, but killing his friends, and father was such a great devotee. So here the father is trying to punish him and trying to do whatever he can so that the son can come to, some proper consciousness. But unfortunately, that was not the case and he got very frustrated, the father. But being a great devotee that he was looking at everything in a way that, this is Krishna's mercy on me. That, see, generally you imagine these kings are not like simply some MLC or something like that, or MLC or MLA or even MP or something like that. or even the prime minister or whatever, chief minister, in today's context. These are people who are the king of the world, entire world, earth. So, what kind of opulence? I mean, just imagine his son can simply kill someone, a young child who can simply kill and then get away with it. I mean, he punished him, it says, but it's not like, he was immediately taken to the court and then he was given a death sentence or something like that. He was punished, but that's nothing, right? So such powers they wielded in that sense. The father had such power. He was the king of the entire universe, or rather at least the earth planet. Now, when such opulences are there at your disposal and you have a rowdy son, okay, you tolerate, you do something about it, but you don't get frustrated and decide, I will give up. I will now call it a day, and he decides to go to the forest. And there, because he's a nice devotee, is thinking, this is Krishna's hand. Therefore, sometimes when you get a good son, he thinks is this way. He thinks, if I get a good son, if I had got a good son, I will be more attached to him. You see how the devotee thinks. Generally, we wish to have nice, good children. But he is thinking, now that I have got a rascal son, I am able to understand, had I got a good son, I will be too attached to him. And I will be continuing my material life like this. Krishna has arranged such a bad son that I feel frustrated, and therefore I am forced, I feel not comfortable to be here in his presence. So I think I will leave this place. So this was his thinking. So sometimes when we have some difficulties, how do we understand that? One thing is we can get frustrated, we can try to do whatever it takes to solve it. Yeah, we should certainly do, because that is part of the plan for us to, take our journey of life. But again, whatever is allowed as per scriptural thing, we should try. But something goes against, we should also see the hand of Krishna. And not taking offense against the person who has done it. Okay, this is Krishna's hand, and maybe he wants me to, it says, one needs to, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that in this material world there is always problems. You need to tolerate. You need to tolerate and move on. You cannot, beyond a point, you need to understand. That's there, sense. You tolerate the heat and cold and, all the different weather conditions, but you still continue to do your duty. So you need to take it in that spirit rather than getting very, many people go into depression, many people commit suicide, so many things happen. But one needs to be understanding what is the ultimate goal of life, and look at these, whatever is coming our way in our life, to see how I can negotiate them, how I can navigate them. But the end goal of my life should never be compromised. Many people I have seen, sometimes there is some situations in our life which becomes too much overwhelming for us. Then our practice of devotional service gets sort of, gets a back seat. And many a times people even leave it. They feel, oh, this is all nothing. What is the point? I did all these things, but you still, I got into this kind of trouble. What is the use of doing all this devotional service? Let me as well try to make myself as happy as possible, live a happy life, and try to live a happy life, fight for it, and whatever happens, happens. That kind of a mindset, a defeated mindset, or these are weak minds, right? Our minds who are not very firmly fixed up in devotional service. But we learn from these things, all of us go through these things, sometimes we feel, but then we need to get inspiration from these kind of instances, where this king, he thinks this way, oh, my son is so bad, and maybe this is the hand of Krishna. Let me use this opportunity to leave this attachment for my family, the son and whatever, and move forward in my devotional life. So he went to the forest. You can think of Srila Prabhupada also in similar context, right? So Prabhupada was leading a normal Grahastha life. He had a lot of challenges. His business was failing, and more importantly, his family was not cooperative. His children were not very much taking up to this one. They were expecting more him to perform better in the business and all that. And wife was completely indifferent, to the extent that she sold off his. He's written a book, and she simply sells off that book to a paper weight. You put for all these accumulated papers, newspaper and all that, you put it for weight, right? Like that, she puts that book on weight, and then whatever money she got, she bought some tea or coffee, whatever it is. So Prabhupada thought, okay, this is not favorable, but this is the hand of Krishna. He is always reminded of his gurus coming in his dream and telling him, why don't you take sannyas? He had that, I think he got that dream 3 times after he was in his Vanaprastha stage. He got 3 times. Initially he was afraid. Prabhupada says, I was not thinking this sannyas and all, it doesn't work for me, I cannot be a sannyasi. But as his life was happening like this, he also related to his gurus, this coming in the dream and saying, you take sannyas, you take sannyas. Then he relates, says, this is the hand of Krishna through the guru. And guru is saying again and again that I should take sannyas. So he uses this opportunity to go away from home and take up sannyas. And we saw later what happened. All of us are blessed. He became, Prabhupada says, I lost a few children, but I got thousands of other children, wonderful children. Like this, so this particular case, Anga also, like, I will give up this son and I will go away. So he went away. Now having gone, the land now suddenly became orphaned. There is no king. It's like a lot of, if you really see, there's a lot of succession planning, right? Even we talk about this word in corporate life, everywhere, succession planning. And particularly if you are to rule the entire world, world, how is it? There should be a lot of effort made in training that person who's going to be the next king and all that. But unfortunately, since the king has left, the thieves and rogues, they started dominating. There was always so much thievery, there was so much of I'm sorry for the background noise. There's a lot of I'm sitting somewhere nearer to the road, so I can't help it today. So the thieves and so many social, anti-social elements started dominating. Because of that, the Brahmanas, generally, those days the Brahmanas were given importance. That means they were the ones who will be the guiding principle behind the Kshatriyas. So they decided this cannot go on. These thieves are really, ruining the society, and therefore we need to take some quick decision to appoint a king. So they appoint this Vena, knowingly that he is such a rascal element, that he is such a cruel person, he is not qualified in any way to be the king, but out of compulsion they make him the king. Now while that happened, immediately all the thieves and the rogues, they understood, this Vena is a bigger thief than all of us, bigger rogue than all of us. So we need to be careful. So they go into hiding. Okay, in that way, whatever the saints thought worked. That means the antisocial elements became quiet because they were afraid. They know, this boy, even as a boy, he killed his friends like that, just like for fun. Now, if we are caught, what will happen to us? So they decided to go underground. But of course, this guy is having a free time, and he was really going all guns out, doing all his nonsense. Vena. And it went to a stage where he was now coming to a point where he is saying, I don't even want these, any of these Brahmanas or anyone to do any of these sacrifices or anything like that. Right? The same mentality of all the great demons. Hiranyakashipu, you can name anybody. All these demons don't want any Brahmanical culture, any Varnashrama, any devotional activity, because they know when those things are there, everything will be in order and they will not get the power to do what they want to do. So they want the society to be degraded so that someone like them can continue to take control and live their whatever kind of life they chose to live. So they want what is the definition of a demon? A demon is someone defined as one who's I can say against Lord, against Krishna, against theistic thoughts. Yeah, Devata is one who's surrendered to the Lord. That means acknowledges, tries to follow, surrendered. All these definitions will fit a person who is considered as a Devata. But one who's a demon, it's not that he has to have two horns or two big teeth jutting out or something like that. It is the consciousness. So these persons who are so degraded in their consciousness, they are atheists. They defy the personality of Godhead. Such persons are called demons. And therefore, their mindset is, I want to defy God, defy those devotees who are actually pursuing spiritual activities. So they stopped all these activities. He stopped all these activities. And that is where Prabhupada is saying that in Bhagavad Gita it is mentioned in the 18th chapter that there is this verse 18.5 Prabhupada is quoting, Yajna dana tapak karma na tyajyam karyam eva tat yajno dhanam tapaschaiva pavanani manishinam. The translation is like this: acts of sacrifice, charity and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity and penance purify even the great souls. So, this is one of the regulatory principles of basic dues of a society, particularly for these Brahmanas to perform these charities, to perform this yajna, tapa. Prabhupada writes, right? In this particular verse that we are seeing, he is writing, it is the duty of the brahmacharis to perform sacrifices. The grahasthas, sacrifices means yajnas, and the grahasthas must give in charity, and those in renounced order of life, the vanaprasthas and sannyasis, must practice penance and austerity. So when these are stopped, then the society is completely degraded. So Prabhupada writes, these are the procedures by which everyone can be elevated to the spiritual platform. So when this basic necessity is stopped, then what can be done? This is what the saints are thinking. What should be our action now? Because now the Prabhupada here he is writing, saintly people preach God consciousness or Krishna consciousness because they are anxious to save the general populace from the danger of animalistic life. So now how to organize the society is very important. The society, we all know, has these four orders, Varna and Ashrama. So one, very, very important, because when you are looking to take hundreds and thousands of people together in an organized way, there has to be some nice system. That system was devised by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Chaturvarnam maya shrishtam guna karma vibhagashaka. He is saying that. So he has created the system through which the human society can progress. Animal society, there is nothing Chaturvarnam. Everything is simple sense gratification. But in human society, this Chaturvarnam is very important. Both the Varna and Ashrama, and that gives the platform for all human beings who are at different levels of consciousness, but all are human beings. how to elevate them systematically in an orderly manner. Because the goal is not simply sense gratification like in animalistic consciousness, but to see how to progress further and further and further. So here there is this wonderful example of Prithu Maharaj. Yesterday or somewhere I was giving a class on this. How Prithu Maharaj was so expert that he knew how to organize the society so perfectly, because he understands this society is made of people who are of different consciousness, and therefore you have to address all the needs of the people. So there could be some people who are in a lower consciousness, who have elevated from an animal kingdom into the human form. For them it is more bodily consciousness. While you say you are Atma, you need to, understand that is at the higher level. But there are also human beings who are at a lower consciousness. And as a king, you have to satisfy everyone. And Prabhupada writes there, we have to understand that why did all the jivas are coming to this material world. They are coming to this material world because they wanted to enjoy material life. Therefore he is saying, therefore facility should be provided even for those people. If you really look at it, it's such a delicate thing what we are talking. So are you saying therefore that you should make arrangements for sense gratification for everyone? No, that's not the point that is being made. But the point that is being made is, that is something which is an expectation, and that is the main reason why this entire populace in this material world is created. So you cannot completely close your eyes and ignore it. Then how do you do that? How do you manage that? Is you need to create a system where you give those opportunities, simultaneously you give knowledge. And there should be regulation in the whole thing. Regulation, how do you regulate? Okay, you do some sense gratification, but you regulate. This is for the society. I am not talking for people who are already advanced in Krishna consciousness. Oh, don't tell me that, Vidura Madhava said like this, therefore tomorrow we should enjoy. No, that's not what I am saying. I am saying if you look at the whole society, and if you are really conscious of bringing up the consciousness of all the people, then you need to understand. That is why Varna Ashrama has come into play. Where the Shudras are ignorant, they cannot beyond a point come to this highest perfection. But by leading a life which is regulated and being in touch with the other four elevated consciousness people up to the level of Brahmana, their consciousness is gradually elevated. So this is very important. And for doing these things, the requirement is the regulated life, what we saw, I think, in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, right? How it is all wonderfully given, how yajnas have to be performed, how the yajnapati has to be satisfied. Krishna says, right, I sent forth men and all these resources and that they can actually perform these yajnas and then get their all necessities satisfied and live a happy life. Prabhupada is writing, Krishna is saying that in the 3rd chapter. So these things will be performed, and by that the demigods are pleased by performing yajnas. Of course, yajnas means to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yajnapati is Lord Vishnu, not Indra, Chandra or whatever. So that is clear. Whatever we do, it is actually ultimately going to that Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Yajnapati is is meant by thing. But when you are doing this yajna, the devatas who are supposed to make facilities for these living entities are pleased. When you perform these yajnas, they are pleased and they make all the arrangements. Through that arrangement, people are happy. So this is the principle given by Krishna. And if one is able to follow that, then the human society will be peaceful, the individuals who are following this regulated life will be peaceful. So here in this King Vena, he is actually stopping that basic fundamental thing which is required for elevating this society. If this is happening, then how can that society progress? So there, now these Brahmanas are thinking, what have we done? How to manage the situation. Now you will, as you go further verses, you will see what decisions they take. But this is important. Now if you have to look at this from the context of today's society, in Kali Yuga, there is absolutely no application of these fundamental principles advocated in the scriptures of organizing the society like this, and how this focus ultimately has to be Krishna consciousness. That while you organize the society into these four categories of Shudra, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Brahmana, their consciousness ultimately for what purposes? To get to that ultimate goal for all the society together. How every individual soul is important. Everyone should be given something so that they progress from there, while whatever their nature, all that is driving their behavior, but simultaneously how to move them forward, how to move them forward. But today, if you really look in Kali Yuga, there is now no actual Kshatriya, and none of these so-called leaders, netas, are actually taking the guidance of the so-called spiritual masters. But if you see, all the netas have someone who's supposed to be a so-called guru, and that guru is also a bogus guru, 99%, and their thing is, I will help you to retain power. It's more about how I will pat your back, how you will pat my back. Then such gurus become big in the society because they have the patronage of this so-called netas, and they build big empires, and the netas give all kinds of permissions for them. And so they each support themselves. See, this thing has to be anyway there, because this is Krishna's creation. But it is done in a wrong way. Just like, even if you say in this Varnashrama is there even in a corporate world, right? There is this chairman, then there is the CEO, then there is this marketing fellow, then there is clerks. What are these classes? If you have to put them, translate them to the functional wise, the chairman is the Brahmana who has the vision for how to take this company forward, while the CEO is the Kshatriya administration who execute the vision of that Brahmana, of the chairman. Then comes the marketing fellows who are the Vaishyas, who are ensuring the business gets the required resources to do what it has to do. And then there are these labor class, all the people who do the groundwork on like the clerks and other people who are basically doing the legwork, right, which is basically the last class of people. So this is all there. You cannot take it away because this is Krishna's creation. But the problem is, this is not going the way it is intended for. That is the biggest problem in this society. Therefore, these netas are unknowingly following Krishna, but following in the wrong method. So these the kings are not interested in really giving the fundamental principles through which the entire society can elevate. They only look to see how they can plunder the people, make money in these 4 years or 5 years, how I can make the money. And secondly, they are trying to see how I can get votes for this, how I can satisfy the senses of the common man. Because of that, they will continue to vote for me. So this is the only thing which is going on. Actually, there is one nice pastime of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, I think he was in Europe. When he was in Europe, Prabhupada was now becoming, at that point in time, already very, should I say the word popular. That government started understanding that Prabhupada is creating a movement which is really getting stronger and stronger by the day. So at one side, the governments are curbing the movement in the backstage, wherever devotees are going for book distribution. they are arresting those devotees. Wherever Sankirtan is happening, they stop the Sankirtan. This is all going on. I am talking of in this age when Prabhupada was on this planet. In America, also, there was cases put against Prabhupada saying that this movement should be stopped. Court cases was there. But his books were selling like hotcakes. So the government are becoming aware. No, this movement is gaining strength and it is going fast. And they have to acknowledge that this personality, because the more they try to directly attack Prabhupada, then the movement will start against the government. Because it is becoming powerful. So what they do is, this is diplomacy, right? On one side, they make Prabhupada, like, they glorify Prabhupada. On the other side, they do anti-ISKCON activities. Right, you can see this. So such things were happening, and governments were recognizing Prabhupada, that he is a great personality, he is a force to reckon with. So in Europe, Prabhupada was there. One of the governments, I don't know if it is Italy or France, one of these, Italy I think, they decided we will give Prabhupada the biggest honor of that country. One of the, they say, right, you are the first citizen, something like that, such honors are granted. So they said, yes, we want to acknowledge Srila Prabhupada, we want to give him this thing. But simultaneously in the same country, just at that time, some of Prabhupada's disciples who are distributing books were arrested. So if you really acknowledge Prabhupada and want to give him that Puraskar or the award as the, first citizen of that city or whatever that is, country, but what he is doing, you are acknowledging by this award, but on the other side, you are curbing what his movement is, growing, that is happening. So Prabhupada said, I will accept that award, and he was asked to come to that place, and he went there. So the protocol is, he has to be seated, and then that person, whoever is the mayor, who's the person who's going to give that award, he will come there. When he comes, the expectation is that the person who's receiving it has to rise and stand. And then that person will come and he will give a big speech. And then this receiving person has to give his speech. And then they give the award, and then there is a lunch party, whatever it is. Then you go back. So this is all given instruction, right? Prabhupada, before you going, Prabhupada, you please be seated. When that guy comes, you need to get up, and then, whatever happens. This protocol is always explained wherever, if you see in our country also, when these awards are there, like you see the Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, all that. All the awardees are instructed what to do. You should come, stand there. From there, you walk this much steps. You come and stand there. You acknowledge this leader. Then you turn right. You go there. Then stand like this. Then the president will put this. Then you salute or whatever. You turn back, come back. There's a protocol given. You need to do this. So Prabhupada heard whatever they are saying. He was seated. Then the guy comes, and Prabhupada is seated. He does not get up. So that guy is waiting out there, seeing Prabhupada has not got up. He is supposed to get up when I come. Prabhupada doesn't get up. Then Prabhupada's, that country disciples who have organized all these things, they are telling in Prabhupada's ears, Prabhupada, now you need to get up. Prabhupada does not care. He ignores what his disciple is saying. He is simply sitting there and watching. That guy waits there for 5 minutes to see if Prabhupada will get up. Prabhupada does not get up. Then he is forced to come inside. He comes in, and Prabhupada is seated. And then he says some few things, that guy says, and then Prabhupada is asked to speak. Prabhupada doesn't get up. He sits there and speaks. And he gives a class on how the society has to be organized, and how these kings, the so-called politicians, have to accept this system of the Brahmanas, the Acharyas, how they should take directions from these people so that the society can be organized properly. And he says, you are all great nations, and you need to be mindful, and you are driving this population to demoniac, animalistic hell. Prabhupada, see, if I am going to get an award, someone is giving me an award, I will be so grateful. I will say, oh, you are all wonderful, like this. That is what today modern gurus are doing. But Prabhupada was not wanting any diplomacy. He is a guru, an acharya at the highest order, a representative of Krishna. and he is giving a lesson to these guys. You are all supposed to be representative of Krishna as a king, but you are degraded and you are degrading the society, and this cannot be tolerated. This is the message which Prabhupada gives at a place where he is called to get being honored by these demoniac people. Prabhupada does not care. And then they give him the award, he just takes it and just walks out. Just imagine how Prabhupada, such a powerful personality, and he is making this point to make us understand, don't compromise. Ensure that, as preachers, you go and set the society in order. Our job. And in Kali Yuga, what is this yajna that we can talk of? The yajna that we can talk of in Kali Yuga is nothing but the Sankirtana yajna. Right? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, what we are talking about in this world, where everybody, Kalau Shudra Sambhavaha, everyone is a Shudra. That means, Shudra means consciousness is so badly affected. Our consciousness is so bad, therefore there is no Brahmana, no Kshatriya, no Vaishya. By birth, it is mentioned, what is that? Janmana Jayate Shudra. Then Samskarat Bhavet Dvijat. Then by study of scriptures, Veda Pata, you become Vipra. Then by understanding higher level, then Vipra is just, you are a very good Vedic scholar or whatever. You know all the, how to perform rituals and all that. That is Vipra. So first is, by birth you are Shudra. Then by Samskara, you become Dvija. Dvija means twice born. That means you are not a Brahmana, you are a Dvija. That means you take birth second time. That means you become closer to the group. After that, you study the Vedic scriptures. By studying of the Vedic scriptures, you become a Vipra. Vipra is one who tries to learn and becomes an expert, but is still not a Brahmana. Then comes the last stage where he comes and relates to that Supreme Personality of Godhead and understand his constitutional position, understand his duty in this thing, that then he becomes Brahmana. So now in Kali Yuga, these things are very difficult. Therefore he said, by birth everyone is a Shudra. So there is no point in trying to go through this ladder. Everyone simply chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and directly come to this qualification of Brahmana. So Prabhupada says this movement ISKCON is wanting to make everyone develop these Brahmanical qualities, which is basically do Sankirtana Yajna and come to this point of surrender to the Guru and to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you elevate directly to Vaishnava stage. So this is very important, and therefore this Sankirtana Yajna, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, is the only way in this Kali Yuga where souls can be saved. And it is the important, and here Prabhupada also writes, it is very, very important that everyone takes up preaching of this message of Krishna consciousness. He says, right, we need to save this. Here the Brahmanas, they are very anxious how to save this society. That is the mood of all the Vaishnavas, and as followers of Prabhupada, our only duty is to see how I can preach. So preaching does not mean not everybody may be able to. Why not? But because Prabhupada has also given nice study. You study in a proper way. There is Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, whatever, all this Sarva Bhauma, everything is there. So everyone can actually learn and preach. But even if someone is not in a position to do, you can still preach. Preaching means supporting the preaching movement. How can we support Prabhupada's movement in whatever way, so that as a group we are able to preach nicely. So this is the only process, and this is the short process by which the society can be elevated. And Prabhupada has given this, and we are all blessed now having, what education, what Gurukula education, most of us would have had nothing. We are all trained in this Prabhupada's way of saying animal slaughter kind of education system. But by Prabhupada's mercy, we have got this knowledge, And now it is the duty of the next generation of Prabhupada's disciples that we need to take this torch and keep moving forward and see what we can do for Prabhupada's movement. I end here. If there are any questions, comments, welcome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the wonderful class. I am truly inspired by the way you quote Prabhupada's lives and had so many anecdotes, because I'm a thorough, what can I say? I just get so enthusiastic and excited when I listen to how Prabhupada dealt with the society. So to begin the day with so much inspiration was really good. Thank you so much. I'll be looking forward to your classes because you quote Prabhupada so much. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Mataji. This is most important because, see, even if Prabhupada, he does not say something on his own, he always quotes with the references to many. One purport he writes, he will take 3 quotes from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, everywhere. Now, for us, our only authority is Prabhupada. You know, I mean, highest authority, of course, we have his disciples whom we take a lot of inspiration from. But because we need to know Prabhupada, because I have this feeling, every person who is coming into ISKCON should be mandated to understand Prabhupada's life. There are so many videos of Prabhupada, because otherwise we will not understand ISKCON. Therefore, and Prabhupada is the Acharya, Prabhupada is the, what do you call, the man in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. And if we know him,
Commander-in-Chief of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's army.
Yes. Therefore, if you are able to understand his mood, if you are able to understand his Leela, then we are closely fixed to this moment. So I take inspiration from that, and I try to see how Prabhupada's life is, how his Leela, and try to relate that back in my classes. Thank you for your comment. All glories to my spiritual master, His Holiness Jayapatak Maharaj. He's an inspiration to me, because he says, the other day I was seeing, anything people ask a question, Jayapatak Maharaj, out of his own experience of more than 50 years of sannyas life itself, he is qualified to say, give his advice. But he will say, when something like this happened, Prabhupada said like that. So to answer a question by someone, he will use Prabhupada to answer that question, not that, I will say like that. So that is how I get inspiration from my spiritual master. But thank you for acknowledging it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu. Govardhan Prabhu.
About the Brahman Kshatriya Vaishya, referring to chairman, managing director, and the people working. So
Yes.
I couldn't understand that. Can you highlight more on this?
Okay,
Sorry.
so what I was saying, Prabhu, so Krishna says, Chaturvarnam Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaga. Right? That means the 4 systems I have created based on their guna, their character, and karma activity. Now, in today's world, we are defying, saying, no, there is no class system, everybody is one and all that, right? That's what today we are saying. But while we are saying that, actually we are doing that only. So I am saying, if you go to any corporate, there is a hierarchy, no? You don't say everyone is equal. You say there is a chairman. What is the role of the chairman? He gives vision to the company. Brahmana's role is actually to give vision. Then the second role is the execution of that vision, which is the Kshatriya. In a corporate world, the chairman sets the vision, then the CEO, the chief operating officers, chief financial officer, the chief IT officer, these fellows, they actually execute the vision of the chairman so that the company progresses. Then, okay, all this is fine, but where is the money coming from? Therefore, the marketing and sales department, what the Vaishyas do, job is to raise resources for the society. This marketing and sales and all these fellows, they do the resource generation activity. Then there has to be these clerks and other people who are all, the people who are doing the groundwork behind the desk. These are like the Shudra class. So, while we are not calling it this way, like the Varnashrama system, but there is a shadow of that even in our normal life. You take anywhere. There is this hierarchy of like the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. But this is a very concocted way. We don't acknowledge that system, but this system is inherently there in everywhere. That is what I was saying. So while we defy Krishna, we cannot escape what Krishna is saying. Does it make now you are able to relate, Prabhu?
Yeah, it's clear, Prabhu. Thank you, Guruji. Thank you for a wonderful class. Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Hare.
We will end here. Thank you, Prabhu, for coordinating and giving me an opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.